able to then start making inroads, right? Like, like AB was saying, we grew up and I'm sure you guys also too grew up in the hood, right? The difference between a lot of us, one is luck, also as well. Luck can also play a part in this, if you want to call it luck, or someone might say the God's hand on your life. But two, also, if you want to look at it a more practical level, is a steady flow of information that changes the trajectory of where you're going. So, for instance, I can choose to make a choice, a different pathway to some of the other guys because I had so much information telling me this is a better path to choose. So, because I had that bank of information, I felt comfortable, I was confident, and I felt no way about going left, if you want to call it that way. The other guys didn't have that same foundation. It's oftentimes a shaky foundation. You've got many different voices kind of speaking to you at that point in time. You may not have inspiration in that particular form, and so what happens is people then choose a different path. This is, what I mean. And also added to that, what gift does that person have? Because oftentimes it's the gift can save somebody. Someone's got a particular skill, like you're saying about someone's Jim Rant's a basketball player, and that can suddenly take him from the hood straight now to professional basketball playing, and that potentially could end up saving his life. But again, obviously, his characteristics and mentors got to catch up with that as well. But oftentimes, it's the information that promotes the choice. And this is, and for me, again, speaking from a spiritual standpoint, this relates to the gospel. What the gospel does is when you listen to, that's why faith cometh by hearings, because once you hear the gospel several times over and you keep hearing it, it actually makes the choice between the two things.
Is it just me or is stuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet.
Johan, clear and evident as day that you actually. Sorry about that, guys. Right, the devil was trying to get me. This was I was trying to free some people. You know what I mean? But I was saying that like from a Christian standpoint, like the more you hear the gospel, the more you hear the word, it gives you a clear differentiation between the choices you make. Would you choose your flesh or will you choose the spirit? And it is the more you consume of his word and his presence and being with Christ that actually allows you to make the choices that Christ would also make. And this is actually the same principle that works for us human beings in the hood, wherever you are. It's the same thing. You need information to be able to make that choice. C Perk, myself, AB, Trey, Tyrone, Johan, we all went to school. And that schooling, because of the education we also have from our home, the two combine. Oh, I can do something. I don't have to stay and be in the same place because the foundation teaching I have from my parents is now meeting also have this education, you can do X, Y, and Z. And then when you expand your knowledge, when you take your own motivation, expand your knowledge, like I can do even more. I can go left, right, and center. You know what I mean? So it's that information is so critical, so key. It's needed to make those choices. Johan, go for it. You wanted to add, go for it.
Yeah, man. All good stuff here. Regarding the whole jammer and the example that Tyrone just shared, I think with a young professional athlete, what tends to happen, and me witnessing it on my own, what tends to happen is by the time they get to college, they already know they're going to go to the league. Generally, their parents is changing the way their leadership is. Because we used to say, the young black athlete is struggling when they're professional because they did not grow up in a two-parents home. And here we are, the example that show that sometimes our kids are listening more to their friends than they're listening to their parents based on the leadership that they created, because, I'm not trying to throw, I don't know if anybody ever said that on since we've been on, but like, you got to hold his dad accountable. Because if your son has been in the news for 2 or 3 times about some situation, you're not going to come sideline, looking like Usher out there and playing around. Like, that's literally the last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my son and I'm going to have a conversation with him. Matter of fact, I'm going to have all his friends and his teammates at a cookout over at my house, and I'm going to stop the cookout and sit everybody down and tell them what we're trying to accomplish. Because as far as I know, Memphis never won a championship, and now they have a shot to do it through this young man. and he's over there jeopardizing everything that he worked so hard for. His dad stopped his own basketball career so he could coach Ja and make him to the league. So are we both gonna like waste something because we want to act tough, right? And we mentioned the mental health for the men and everything else. Those are very important tools. My journey through therapy, you know, I've had the chance to earn some of the grants in my city to be able to get some free session with my therapist. So one of the conversation we may have, you know, AB or Tyrone and everybody on here, when we have conversation with the young ones, is maybe asking them, you know, are they okay? How's your heart today? You know, because we always say, how are you? And our brain is already conditioned to say, you know, I'm fine. But when you're telling somebody, how's your heart today, it's going to make them stop and really check how's their heart today, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speak. And when we are speaking, we're having interaction and we're having altercations. So checking on somebody's heart generally would tell you where their thoughts are at, and then you can help them essentially guide them. I say this before I rest my case here. I'm involved with the Denver Dream Center in my city. And in that ministry, we basically mentor and help the inner city youth. And I was having a conversation the other day with a young man that I know since he was in the third grade. He's a senior in high school now. And I was asking him, what are you going to do? His whole high school here, he was playing sports, basketball and football. Now he's about to finish high school. What he wanted to do is become a barber. And I'm like, why? And he's telling me because I did not get any offer to play ball. And I'm like, so if you don't play ball, your life is over? I'm not saying a barber is not the way to go, but I checked out his page to see if he had a gift. I love that kid, but he doesn't, right? And I did not want to kill his dream right there and there. But I started sharing with my path professionally people who have been on other different paths. And now within this organization, we have a chapter where we're going to coach our high school kids, essentially what the path to college or like life after high school it looks like, because it's not always college. And what I'm inviting all of us on this panel tonight is take at least 1 or 2 to 3 to 5 young men that you have in your life that you know that are looking up to you, and really diving deeper into where they're going in life. Because if you really check in, half of the time they are making those choices based on the people that they see on TV, which is rapper, athletes, and all those guys. I think Trey is a good man. I think Tyrone is a good man. I think Kojo is a good man. Everybody on here is a good man. Hey, Corey, everybody. We are making a living out of what we do, but we're not rappers or we are not athletes. And within our community, what our youth is believing to this day is still that there's only 2 ways to make it out. And changing that stigma can be one way to go about too.
If I could add something to the mental health.
Before you go, AB, sorry. Before you go, Trey hasn't gone, so after Trey, then you can go, AB. Sorry.
I keep it somewhat short. I think Johan said